Good morning, everyone. It's 9 o'clock, March the 23rd, 2026, and our regular Commissioners Court meeting is now in session. First item on the agenda is roll call by our county clerk, Mary Jane Barrial-Benoan. Mary Jane, good morning.
Good morning, Judge. Judge Resno.
Present.
Commissioner Moya.
Present.
Commissioner Morales.
Present.
Commissioner Solis.
Present.
Commissioner Garza.
Present.
We have a quorum, Judge.
Thank you, Mary Jane. Will everyone please rise for the pledge of allegiance? I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 4 is communications, commissioners. A lot of events past weekend. Everything turned out okay, fair.
We had a very good turnout. Thanks to all the buyers that we had to do like the livestock auction. So it was really a great weekend.
Definitely a great weekend. Also, we had great weather.
Yes.
To join. So the fair was nice. The kids enjoyed it. Great turnout overall. Judge, also we have 2 upcoming events this week. We do have an Easter egg hunt at the Siesta Shores Park. It'll be the Sheriff Montes, the Zapata County News, and myself will be hosting this event. It'll be on Friday, March 27, 2026, from 5 to 7 p.m. It'll be a free event for the whole entire community to join us. Will be free raffles, free food, free Easter egg hunt, free golden eggs. Make sure we spread the word, have some people go out and have some fun. Also on Saturday, we'll be having the Border Fest. Gates open at 10 a.m. That'll be for the car show, and the cookout begins at 8 a.m.
Pavilion Fairgrounds?
And that's going to be at the county fairgrounds, which is a pavilion, yes, sir.
Okay.
Which it used to be at the Romeo Flores Park, but I think the event got big, bigger than what was expected now, and we will have some riders playing at the end of the night. So it'll be a great event. It is for charity. So make sure you guys swing by and help out this great cause.
Also, I'd like to congratulate everybody that made it to state for the women's powerlifting. They did great. We had 1 medalist, one of them being my daughter. She placed 5th. So
she's going to be competing in state tournaments? Or?
That was the state.
Oh, that was
so
the state.
So she got 5th in state.
Well,
and also for the upcoming boys that are heading out also for state, good luck to all of them.
So how, can she lift you up or how?
Oh, that's her.
So,
Yeah.
That's good to hear. Yeah, we've got a lot of young men and women, young boys and girls really doing well in all activities, sports, UIL, so that's good to see.
Powerlifting has always had a great program. The commissioner said congratulations to them.
Okay, very good. Any other comments?
Also, last week we had the area of Teposan and south of Zapata. They were without water for about a day and a half, and it was kind of hard to get it back up and going, but eventually we got together with Falcon Rural Waterworks, and they were able to get it back up and going after a day and a half. And it was pretty hard for them. They couldn't use the restrooms, they couldn't shower, they nothing, So I did reach out to HEB, and they did donate about 4 pallets, so we were able to get them, each household about two cases of water, so we were able to get that done. But we're in the works with, I guess, the Siesta Shores Waterworks, so that they're trying to create, I guess, an agreement so that they can start servicing that area, which would be a lot better on the service aspect of it. So hopefully we'll bring it to court soon and get something going.
Sounds good.
Any other communications? Not, we'll move on to public comment.
Oh, one more thing, the turf that we have at the field here, we were gonna try to put it on, it was gonna be donated by the Arroyo family, but unfortunately, it's gonna cost too much money, and there's no way that we can afford to put that used turf, so they're gonna take it back just so the court knows, and they're gonna try to get rid of it, and whatever they make on that, they're gonna donate it back to us to fix up those parts that we need.
Any other comments? We'll move on to the public section. This section provides the public the opportunity to address the Commissioners Court on any items on the agenda. Any members of the public wish to address the court at this time? We'll move on to item number 6, approval of invoices. And in your packets, we had invoices from March the 6th, 2026 through March the 19th, 2026. And we had a total of $434,725.20.
Motion to approve as presented, Judge.
Motion to approve is presented by Commissioner Solis, seconded by Commissioner Moya. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item number 7 is approval of checks issued, and then also in your packet, we had checks from March the 6th, 2026 through March the 19th, 2026, for a total of, should be the same amount, $434,625.20.
Motion to approve as presented.
We're off. It's 625 instead of 725.
It's
They sign up for public comment.
Okay, we can go back to it, that's all. Okay. So, we got a discrepancy?
At 725?
Yeah, it's 725.
625 on the report.
So there's $100 discrepancy.
$100.
Yeah, there's $100 discrepancy, which I need to find.
Okay, so we'll approve it pending, reconciling.
It's on the general fund.
Yeah.
It's 380 instead of 480. So it's 261, 380, 32, and on the checks y'all have 261, 480, 32.
I'll just have to look at it and
We'll
see
get a
why that
report on
happened.
that.
We'll come back.
Because it should be the same.
Okay.
Who made the second?
It'll be Pete.
Any other discussion, Commissioners?
Yes.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Morales.
Yes, so, yeah, public comment, that we have some interested parties, we can return to it. Yes, sir? You can step up and report support. And just state your name for the record, and which item would you be commenting on?
Yes. Morning, can you all hear me from this?
Just
Press the button.
press up. There you go.
There. Morning, Judge, morning, Commissioners.
You can raise
Just give me,
You can raise the podium. It has a button
Yes,
there. The podium, the whole
oh,
thing.
the podium here?
It has a button. Little switch. A switch.
Let me just, get this going.
Okay.
Apologies, 1 second. There we go.
That's how it goes.
That's it.
Yeah. I'm good.
We tried.
Let's see
Right.
if this, can get this projector for y'all, just a moment here. For the record, Martin Castro, I'm the Watershed Science Director at the Rio Grande International Studies Center. Okay, perfect. Good news. Looks like it's, good.
No, you're good.
You hear that?
You can hear.
Yes.
Alrighty. Well, good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Martin Castro. I'm from Laredo. I'm the Watershed Science Director here representing the Rio Grande International Studies Center. I have a brief presentation. I know we have just a few minutes for public comments, but just wanted to say, before I begin, I just want to outline the purposes of this presentation. The purpose of this presentation is to provide the commissioners with information, this court to provide, that may be relevant to the commissioner's responsibility, to evaluate potential risks of this border barrier infrastructure. Again, with critical infrastructure such as water treatment facilities, public parks, any other municipal property or county property that may be affected. The border wall and buoy system that we've all seen, I think renderings of would be constructed, of course, as along one of the most dynamic river systems in North America, the Rio Grande, and projects of this magnitude that this report is about to show are going to have enormous consequences, not just only for our infrastructure, but for public safety and the long-term stability of this river corridor. This report, which we can distribute to the Commissioner's Court, to this court afterwards, that you're going to hear about today, was prepared by an experienced civil and environmental engineer, Dr. Mark Tompkins, using the best publicly available data that we currently have accessible to us, including historical flood records, FEMA floodplain maps, topographic data, and spatial data for infrastructure along the river corridor. So again, the goal of this presentation, just very briefly, is to summarize simply the key findings of Dr. Tompkins' report, using his expertise so that the Commissioner's Court has a clear understanding of the types of risks that engineers like Dr. Tompkins evaluate when infrastructure of this magnitude is proposed along a river system like the Rio Grande. So I'm going to go through this very quickly, just a couple of slides. So, Dr. Mark Tompkins, this is some of his qualifications. He's a fluvial geomorphologist, just a fancy term for somebody that studies rivers. He's been doing this for over 28 years. Dr. Mark Tompkins is also a licensed civil engineer in California and other states, I believe. So he really specializes in river behavior, hydraulics, flooding, sedimentation, erosion. This is the guy you want studying these kinds of impacts. We commissioned Dr. Tompkins to produce this analysis because Dr. Tompkins was already familiar with border wall impacts, specifically in Mission, Texas. His client at the time, a few years ago, was the National Butterfly Center, and they commissioned him to study the structural failures that were seen after the border wall was completed on the Butterfly Center's property. So Dr. Mark Tompkins really knows his stuff, his engineering, and so I just wanted to preface this assessment with.
Put a face to the name.
Yes, yes, sir, yes, sir. So anyways, so just very quickly, one point Dr. Tompkins has emphasized in his report is something very important to understand, right, about rivers, and that is that rivers appear calm and predictable 99% of the time, but the real test of infrastructure, as we've seen, is not during calm conditions. It's during that 1% of events, the extreme floods, when the river carries enormous energy, debris, and sediment. I think we're all familiar with these pictures. This is the flood of 2010 in Laredo. As you can see, the river crested nearly to the top of Bridge 1 in that photo. And this is what engineers must plan for when evaluating risk. It is that 1% that we as a community, Zapata as a community, must invest its energy and planning efforts into. So very briefly, these are just some of the key findings from Dr. Tompkins' report. There's 5 of them essentially. First of all, floodwaters are expected to move higher and faster during these extreme events. With the proposed system, if it's installed, it's going to introduce large obstructions into the river channel. It's going to clear extensive riverbank areas, as we've already seen here in Zapata County, which is going to change how the water moves during these flood events. These changes, of course, are going to increase water levels and redirect flood energy along the riverbanks. Secondly, debris by the wall is going to be carried, by the river is going to be carried, and it's going to increase dramatically. During major floods, like the ones that photos you just saw, the river is going to carry large volumes of these of debris, trees, vegetation, cars, in addition to like steel bollards and of course the buoys that we've seen. So that's all going to be trapped in this whole system, and it's going to increase pressures on critical infrastructure like bridges, and it's going to alter how the water flows around it. Thirdly, the sections of the border wall and buoy system are likely to fail, and all it's going to take is just one failure to cause catastrophic damage. And Dr. Tompkins displays in his report how the debris loading combined with erosion and all the scouring that's going to occur around these infrastructure, these structural anchors, for example, around bridges, is going to cause parts of the system to break free during these high flow events. And again, it's just going to take one failure for that to happen. So these failures, of course, at number 4 are going to increase risks to human life, to property along the river, because again, when the floodwaters are redirected thanks to this infrastructure, or obstructed, I should say, the impacts are going to extend into nearby neighborhoods, communities, and other public areas. And then finally, to wrap up here, the system poses significant risks to bridges and other critical infrastructure. Again, Dr. Tompkins explains how, again, debris loading combined with erosion and the scouring of this infrastructure is going to concentrate the force of these floodwaters in ways that this existing infrastructure, in this region, was never designed to handle. So these outcomes are not hypothetical. They're really considered, as he has put it for us, inevitable under these extreme river conditions. These are just some of the flooding and erosion examples that Dr. Tompkins highlights in his report. These are aerial images taken in 2010 and 2024 on the left. You can actually see, I think we're all familiar with this, is just right above San Ignacio, near the mini farm, but you can see just how high the floodwaters rose between 2010 and 2024. The community across the river from San Ignacio is essentially no more because it was all inundated at some point, and that was without any border wall infrastructure in place. And here in the city of Laredo, you can actually see the island on the far right from 2025 back then to 2010, how it is essentially eroded away and it's been exposed. All of that silt has been washed into the river over time, causing more and more of the channel to become narrow and smaller, and it's just causing just tremendous erosion examples, and the placement of this infrastructure, the wall and the buoys, is essentially going to speed up what's already been happening, again, with flooding and erosion in very extreme ways. But again, ultimately, this is a rendering from Dr. Tompkins' report. This is a public safety issue that requires more in-depth analysis and more studies from qualified professionals to really evaluate the risks to critical infrastructure and public safety. Again, more examples, more renderings of what could happen in extreme flood events from Dr. Tompkins' report. These are just very simplified visuals that Dr. Tompkins, that we produced to complement Dr. Tompkins' report. And I have my little descriptions here. So, you know, these were just, again, visuals that were helped prepared to visualize the impacts in this report. Dr. Tompkins approved and reviewed all of these visuals, so they accurately represent the types of scenarios that are going to occur during these extreme river events. Again, they're not exaggerations. They're based on well-understood river science and processes and the interactions, right, between floodwaters, debris, and large structures that are placed in the river corridor. You know, the impacts of border wall, just showing how the buoy system will interact with floodwaters, the wall will interact with floodwaters during major flood events, as we discussed earlier, how this is going to collect and eventually wash up and you know, wash on the riverbanks. If there's homes, you know, communities along the riverbanks, San Ignacio is a good example. You know, these obstructions are going to just really alter the way the river behaves during major flood events. And of course, the buoys this is a possible failure scenario, for example. These debris, all of this debris accumulation and these hydraulic forces from the floodwaters are going to cause sections of the buoy system to break loose and catch around, for example, accumulate around bridge structures, I should say. So they're going to concentrate the force of floodwaters, and again, in ways that none of these systems were designed to handle. So I remain available to answer any questions, and appreciate y'all's time.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you very much.
Thank you for your
Thank you.
presentation. And that will, presentation is related to item number 26, Commissioners, that the court will be undertaking.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Good morning, Ms.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. My name is Elsa Hall. I'm a resident there by San Ignacio. And I just put together some information about the construction contracts that have been awarded here in Zapata County for the border barrier. The first one that impacts Zapata County is called the Laredo 4 project, and it is for wall. Part of this extends into the northern part of Zapata County. This is over $500 million. These amounts are just mind-boggling to granite construction. This goes from the river bend in Laredo, like I said, all the way down into maybe a few miles into Zapata County. And these are, this is information based on CBP's, what they call their smart wall map, and it shows which sections have been awarded, which sections have been planned. All of the sections in Zapata County are coded that they have been awarded. And this is the first one that impacts Zapata. And there's another one, the RGB3 project. This is for buoys. And it's part of, the majority of the project is in the Rio Grande Valley, but for some reason it includes a section of Laredo and again a little bit into Zapata County as well. This is for the buoys. The map on CBP's website indicates the contract has been awarded. I have not been able to find any details on that. They're not making announcements anymore formally on their website as they previously did. Looked in USA Spending, which tracks government contracts and posts the information on the website. And I just haven't been able to narrow down which RGB project that is listed there includes this section, since it's not coded specifically for Laredo. But I will keep looking. And now this is just showing where the existing state wall is in Zapata County, a few miles from the Webb Zapata County line down towards the San Ignacio area. And that's existing state wall. Now the Laredo 3 project, this is also for wall. It's a little over 25 miles that's proposed, and it's proposed to connect to the state wall and continue all the way down, and it ends just right at Highway 496. And again, this is one I haven't been able to find any information on who the contract was awarded to or the amounts, but the map does indicate that this has been awarded. And yeah, I'll keep looking for that one as well. Laredo 3 project, this is for the buoys. And this is proposed to go from the near where the state wall ends and goes all the way down to the discharge side of Falcon Lake, all the way through the lake. And this contract was awarded to Spencer Construction for $269 million for over 56 miles of buoys. This is just a summary of the contracts and the amounts that I've been able to find so far. The total for Zapata County is over 25 miles of wall and over 56 miles of buoys. Just going to show you that the flooding concerns we have specifically for San Ignacio and San Ignacio Viejo. This yellow line along here shows the path of the proposed wall and the enforcement zone that accompanies it. And then there's a line of buoys with the orange circles that you can see there on the map. It looks kind of dark, but that's the line for the buoys. And one thing I want to point out, I did submit comments to CBP. I don't know if they paid attention, but I did notice subsequent to the comment period, that buoy line has been relocated on their map to the actual flowing part of the river. Because as it was initially, it was in the dry part. But the line of the wall has not moved. This is a close-up of the town of San Ignacio, the northern half of it, and this is based on a map risk created. I believe Martin had discussed this previously, how it's based on the smart wall map. Nothing's changed. He just added some information about some icons and some details on the map so you can see how it looks on a satellite view, what it's going to impact. And this is the wall is the yellow line, the red hash marks are the enforcement zone. So all that is going to have to be denuded, cleared. And you can see how it goes along the Trevino Street there in San Ignacio. So you can just imagine, this is the southern part of San Ignacio, how all that, once it's denuded, how is that going to change the water flow and the erosion when the river does flood? What impact is it going to have on the adjacent area? And this goes through where the water intake pump is as well. And this is the San Ignacio Viejo area. Arroyo Sopelote is this area here. And there are these communities, these subdivisions on both sides of it, including mine right here. But you can see again how all this is going to have to be denuded to construct this. And there are homes all along this area. And I want to point out, back in 2010, when all this was underwater, the water came up right to the edge of my property, partway over Laurel Road. All this was underwater, and that was without these structures in place. What is going to change? How are these structures going to change this flooding? And these are some FEMA flood maps that show that these areas, San Ignacio, we are in a flood-prone area, and this is the San Ignacio Viejo area. So we have great concerns about how these structures will impact homes and affect people's lives, and not just property, but how will this change, like the county's response during a flood, your emergency preparedness plan? I remember back in 2010, Chief Meza, I was on a call with the TM for work, and he explained how they had to evacuate people in Zapata County because of the flooding. And so how will that plan change or need to be changed if these structures are put in place? So a study would benefit the county as far as, so you know what to expect and how to respond if the worst case scenario and these structures do go up. These are just the sources where I got the information, and I can give this information to you if you need anything further from me. So I appreciate you letting me speak to you about this and your consideration, and just let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you.
Mention the handout. Mention the handout.
Oh, yes, the handout I gave you is what I had spoken to you about.
Yes.
Commissioner Morales, about the motion that we were suggesting, and then some reasons that support this study.
Very well. Thank you, Ms. Hall. Any questions, Commissioners? Thank you for that information.
Thank you.
Very well, Commissioners. Thank you both of you for the presentations. We'll move on to some other reports and presentations. Item number 8 is the placement of cell locks. Zapata County Jail and Zapata Regional Jail has been completed. The new locking mechanisms are installed and fully operational. I guess, yes. Captain, yes. Good morning, sir. So, yes.
Commissioners, morning, Judge.
Good morning, Captain.
Good morning.
The cell locks were, actually, they were already upgraded, repaired and everything. I think there's.
There is a
also-
report in the
Yeah,
packet.
so basically they checked the hinges as well on the doors, the sealed hinges, and that was one of the issues that had come up.
I saw the report, and I saw that many of the hinges did fail the test. So
Yeah,
I guess
as
that's an
far as
item.
through the state, I mean, we're good, as long as the locks work and everything. The only issue is that we do have doors that are starting to sag, and
They're gonna be hard.
they can put them up, but they keep on sagging and they get caught up on themselves when they do the automatic, opening.
And this was only at the county jail?
At both facilities.
Both
That
facilities.
was the regional, the county jail is good to go. That one is all the regional jail. Cause at the county jail, at the women's, we have the sliding bar gates and then the doors. I mean, they were still operating good. At the regional jail, that's where we have the doors that pop open, so.
And there is an item to address the
Yes,
hinges.
the hinges, basically, like you said, it's just, that's what he said that it would cost to repair it. We're not in an emergency right now but it just to bring it up to you guys, because later on we will start having doors that will start having issues with cause some of the doors have the 3 hinges that are already, they're sealed hinges, so they can't basically fix them. They have to be pulled off and welded back up on the doors.
Those hinges have never been replaced?
No.
I guess the facility's close to 30 years old? How
Yes,
old is
sir. And there's just issues that have been coming up, air conditioning, roof, the doors,
Yeah, it's
the
an aging
control
starting
system
to-
itself.
Did
So
you
it's
mention
age.
any life that they have remaining, like on any of the hinges?
All he said is that, well, he can't open it, he can't take it because then he would end up disabling the door. But he says they're already leaking, some of them aren't even leaking grease anymore, but some of them still are. So that's why the door is still functioning. Like I said, and it's usually the top one that starts going first, and then the middle one, and then once that last one goes, then once we get that door sag to lift those doors, I mean, they're extremely heavy.
Sure.
Is it possible to get it out of the commissary fund? That stretching it?
We have in the commissary account, but there's other things that we need to address as far as like the cameras that I'm gonna present in a bit, for the county jail. And, there's other, items that we need to purchase.
Yeah, everybody's switched in.
Yeah. So like I said, right now the doors, they're working, it's just a matter of that's an issue that later on will compound. So just to.
And once we replace them, once they get replaced, how long will they have? Will they last another 20 years?
That's what we're hoping. They lasted, I mean, the ones that are there are mainly the originals, so
Right,
they
which is
do
30
last,
years.
they do last a long time
They
because they're
didn't
sealed.
specify as to how long they will last?
No. And I don't have that, I wasn't able to reprint it to read because the emails had gone down and I don't have access to my old emails anymore. So, it's just that, I don't know what the total is on there, but yeah, that's one of the issues. He submitted a report with it just for you guys to look at it, and like I said, it's not an emergency, but just I wanted to bring it up to you guys, just so you guys are aware that that is a pending issue at the facility.
I mean, okay, so we'll get to it on the action item.
We'll do it on
Yeah.
number 11.
Okay, thank you. So we will move on to the action items. We'll deliberate, consider action on item number 9 is to award grant writing and management services for the Texas Water Development Board Water Supply and Infrastructure Grant. Commissioners, as we know, the state of Texas allocated, I guess, over $1 billion for water projects, I think, and they determined by population size of counties how much we would be eligible for. I think in our case, projects that, of course, would meet their criteria and get approved, we have up to a $15 million ceiling of projects that we can request for funding for. And we did request management services as required by the Texas Water Development Board. And I guess, Mr. Gonzalez, you can inform the court how the scoring went and how many applicants applied for these services.
Yes, Judge. So we had 4 applicants or respondents, joint venture, Colina Vacas joint venture, SRN Company, Grant Works, and Lone Star Strategy Group. When it came to the how much to pay them, we went with a $5 million grant request only because Grant Works had a scale where it would diminishing scale on their cost, and their $5 million was the highest they went. So with that in mind, joint venture, Colina Vacas joint venture was 1%, which was $50,000. SRN Company was 3.5% at $175,000. Grant Works was $275,000, but they also charged a $7,500 application fee, which came out to $282,500. And Lone Star Strategy at 4%, $200,000. And once we did the evaluations, joint venture had a total of 198 points. SRN Company 253.4. Grant Works 196, and Lone Star Strategy Group 198, and we went ahead and went recommending to the Commissioner's Court SRN Company.
Judge, I make a motion to go with the recommendation to award grant writing and management services to SRN Company.
Motion by Commissioner Solis, for a second, to award to SRN Company. I'll second that motion. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those against, same sign. Motion carried. Moving on to the item number 10 is to award engineering services for the Texas Water Development Board Water Supply and Infrastructure Grant. And I guess the same process went.
Yeah, same process of evaluations. We only had one respondent, which was Premier Engineering.
Okay.
And we went ahead and scored him and gave it to him.
Judge, I make a motion to go with the recommendation and award engineering services to Premier Engineering.
Motion by Commissioner Solis to award engineering services to Premier Engineering. Is there a second? Second by Commissioner Moya. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. All right, motion carried. Thank you. Well,
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Premier, and I think Mr. Escher has done a lot of work for us, so he'll be a good person to work with. And so we're eligible for up to $15 million, Mr. Gonzalez? Yes, you may approach, yes, man. I mean, that's all good news. I know the state of Texas is taking our water shortages across the state seriously, and our water infrastructure that needs a lot of repair, including our small little county. We do need some help, so.
Thank you, Judge and Commissioners, for the support on the selection for this project, and, yes, I did see the presentations earlier, and I see the amount of monies that the state is, and the government is spending on water ball and buoys, and I'm glad that they did put some monies in for infrastructure since our water is diminishing at the Rio Grande. There is many needs that the county has. I know that the water tanks in town are a need. The water line replacement going to La Milenio is a need that will have to be replaced by the county. There is a possibility of maybe exploring moving water northward so that we may be able to start providing water to some of the subdivisions like the Potreritos and the Newcomb Ranch that have been part of the community for many years, but they're not being serviced right now. Maybe doing an interconnection with Rockland Rural Water Supply, so that Zapata, has availability of water and can provide. But those types of projects, and maybe doing an interconnection with the Highway 16. We are connected currently with them, but there's other possibilities, and exploring avenues for what sources of water we have available, and I know that Corpus Christi is going through some water issues.
Sure.
Most of Texas, we've been in a drought, so thank you very much for the support.
Thank you.
I think the monies are great. I just hope and wish.
Well, they are grant, I mean, they are competitive grants, I'm
They are
assuming.
competitive grants. It is 100% grant. There's no match on the county's part. It is, you would be competing with communities our size. And so they have allocated funds for larger communities, and they would compete against each other. The smaller communities would then be competing. So it's from 10,000 to 150,000. So that's 150,000 in population. So those are the communities that we would compete with on these grants.
I'm just saying, the amounts are great, but I just wish, and I guess dream, right, and hopeful, that they would use the buoy money, the 200-some million for infrastructure. That'd be great. One can only dream. That's what I was gonna say.
Yes, Commissioner, that is correct. And I'd like to see maybe later on, the applications, from what I've seen on webinars, is that the application is due in July. I'd like to see if we can have a workshop with the judge and the rest of the court, so that we can look at what are our priorities and what are our needs and what can we go
That
after.
certainly we need to do that and make sure our application is really shiny. And
There is some requirements within the application.
Yes.
I know that, and we can go over that to see what do we need to have ready for that application.
Very well. Look forward to seeing. Okay, thank you. Item number 11, Commissioners, the next item on the agenda is to approve the proposal from Valhalla Security Solutions to replace the cell door hydraulic hinges at the Zapata County Regional Jail. So we just talked about it in the presentation. Lieutenant, right, or it's a captain?
Captain.
So now,
I see
is this the only company that does this? Do we need to go out for bids on this, or?
I can call and have them, but I don't know if they're gonna come and do the inspection for free.
I see we have a total of 140 hinges.
Yes.
140. So the material alone would be 15,400.
Mr. Piro, I just want to make sure we do not violate our
Yes,
bidding
Judge,
practice.
it doesn't appear to be, this to be a professional service, type of issue, Judge, so because it's not, it would, probably require a competitive, bid process, Judge. So, in reference to if there's already been a, report of hinges and things that need to be replaced, Judge, and we already have the parameters of everything that needs to be replaced, then we can put that in,
Okay. Yeah,
the request for bids, Judge.
Because are they also, could be members of the buy board, or maybe some?
Well, they might be, Judge, I'm not familiar with.
I don't know if they're
This isn't
part
something
of
we've
the
done in the
bylaw.
past.
Yes, yes.
But like I said, I mean, we can, visit this later, I can see if I can find any other companies that would be willing to come and do, an inspection, or they wouldn't charge us to come and actually do the inspection.
Well, since we have the inspection made out already,
Okay.
we know what we need.
Right.
Yeah.
So that'd be a way of avoiding that part of it, so there's no cost, and then, get
All right.
whatever bids.
So in our action, we could say that let's request bids for
That's correct.
the information that we already have as
All
far
right.
as the inspection.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and forward that then to other companies and see what they can quote out to us and see what, y'all just need
See what other
2,
companies
3,
are
4
charging.
bids?
Well, yeah, can you, like, who handles the actually, the?
Well, I mean, the sheriff department will bring in the actual bidding, they will do it, and they'll bring it.
Yeah,
to
but
the
just
court.
how do you know it goes through
No,
the auditor's office or how?
No,
We
it'll
can
be
handle
through the
that, our
department.
system, I'll
Okay,
help them out.
yeah, just so we can make sure that it's, cause I'm not certain you've gone out for bids yet
No.
before, okay.
No,
So
it
you
was just
can make
it was basically just to present it, that what the issue was.
What we need is.
Yeah, that way we're aware and
Oh, you
then.
could guide him with,
And just for the record, this was a breakdown of 140 hinges at $110 a hinge. So we're looking at a total of 15,400 materials, 4,936 labor and travel, for a total project investment of 20,336.
Which, this is under the $50,000
Okay, well,
threshold,
it is,
so you don't have to go out to
we-
bids.
Right, I wasn't aware of what the total
Amount was.
cost is, so, I think the county had requested, I think, anything under, or I'm sorry, over 25 would require, Commissioners Court action,
Yeah.
would require the competitive bidding process. If we are at 20,000, below that amount, the court, if it deems it to be necessary, could potentially take action. However, you can request bids, but would not be required to do so. Yeah.
Well, it's up to the court that, you know.
Yeah, well, I mean, it wouldn't hurt to go out for bids, I mean.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna mention, if you guys want to, I'll go ahead and reach out to other companies, see if we can go down a little bit lower on the
Yeah, let's
cost.
go down from the 110 possibly, you know, we can save some money there. So I make a motion, Judge, to go out for bids, to see if we can find a company a little bit cheaper than 110. And that'll be my motion. Okay.
Motion by Commissioner Leach to approve the bidding process for the replacement of the hinges. Seconded by Commissioner Moya. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Captain.
Item number 12, to approve the removal of over 2,000 gallons of DAP gas and over 4,000 gallons of Jet A fuel from the fuel farm at Zapata County Airport for disposal to prevent selling fuel that no longer meets standards. Options are to hire a company to remove the fuel, local customers having the capability to haul fuel away, or contracting our fuel provider to re-inspect the fuel. Hey, good morning, Domingo, how are you, sir?
Morning, Domingo.
So, there hasn't been a lot of activity at the airport,
We have, we have a lot of fuel,
we are not, so,
so it's, and the certification that we did 3 months ago, it already expired, so now the construction is gonna start in May or
okay.
June, and so we have a lot of fuel left over. So we have 3 options,
Okay, so yes, so the airport's gonna be under construction also, so we basically,
Have to get rid of the fuel.
Right, Judge, because it would be considered an asset owned by the county, Judge, we have to take, necessary steps to see if we can recoup any of those expenses that we made in purchasing the gas. If we cannot, because it either becomes too expensive to get someone to come and get it or to purchase it, things like that, then that's why I asked them to come up with some options available to the
Sure.
county in which the court can take the necessary action, deemed appropriate for an asset that the court already owns.
okay.
Yeah.
So local
for the county,
customers
sorry.
having the capability of hauling the fuel away, so at their own risk, or is it the county would be liable
as
for any?
disposal, to dispose, yeah.
Would they
Maybe
be able to
find
use
a
it?
liner or, but,
Would they be able to use it, or what?
So it has to be disposed of, is what you're saying, there's no
yeah, I
way you
mean,
can use it.
it's not certified or
Yeah,
anything.
doesn't make
If
us
something
any-
happens, it's gonna be on the county.
I make a motion to approve the removal of 2,000 gallons of baby gas and 4,000 gallons of jet.
What company would that be?
It's
The
gonna
hire
be,
company?
Crystal Clean.
That's what they do.
Yeah.
And what is the charge for that?
It's $6,980.
You wanna include that in your motion, Commissioner, to hire the company?
Yes, sir.
$6,980.
6908, and what was the name of the company again?
Crystal Clean.
Crystal King?
Clean.
Crystal King.
Now, Judge, I think it needs to be clarified for our audience, Judge, why it is that the county cannot hold on to that
Sure.
jet fuel and keep it for when it is
Yes,
open.
we're gonna have some major construction upgrades to the airport, and
Right.
so we won't be able to sell any more
Yeah.
fuel,
Yeah.
so.
But there's also a chance that the jet fuel spoils or
It will-
loses
yeah.
its efficacy.
It doesn't make
but-
sense to, it might be able to be recertified, but it doesn't make sense, because we're not gonna be able to use the airport for a good while anyway, so.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to clarify the issue for
Let's just
the-
clean up
Close
the
it
tank.
for at least 8 months.
Have you reached out to like any other airports that maybe would wanna recertify and get it at a cheaper cost or anything? Is that possible?
No, I tried, but.
No.
Yeah, I had spoken to Mr. Casanea about, even selling it at cost to recoup a little bit of the money, but
It's not certified.
How many gallons did we buy at that point?
I think it was 10,000, right?
yeah. I
They
think
started
it's-
that, yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe next time we can purchase a
Little
little
less.
bit. Yeah.
Well, there are minimums to what you can purchase.
Yeah, they have a minimum.
Yeah. Very well, so we've got a motion to hire,
Crystal Clean.
Crystal Clean at a cost of $6,980, to remove the fuel, both fuels, both avgas and jet fuel.
Total 6,000.
Seconded by Commissioner Moya. Any discussion? I guess this will come out of the airport fund, the enterprise fund?
Yes.
Okay. Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item, number 13 is to approve, 13 and 15 are the same items, Commissioners, they were just duplicated.
Okay.
To approve an agreement for right-of-way professional services in regards, to the acquisition of parcels near Zapata County Airport. Counselor, I wonder if we could hear this one in, executive session under.
Yes, Judge, I don't know the exact details, Judge. so
I think it'd be better if we had some, attorney,
Absolutely.
client,
Make a motion to
consultation.
review this item on, executive session.
Okay, we'll come back to it, we'll recall it, so.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, we'll recall item number 13. Then we'll, item number 14 is to approve the automated weather observation system replacement airport, AWOS, replacement airport project. I wonder if I got the acronym right.
Yes.
Okay.
They still, I'm gonna table it until we get the resolution from Texas.
Okay, so it's on its way, the funding is in
Yeah.
place, so it was a 90-10 grant, I
90-10.
believe.
Yeah.
So we're ready to upgrade this also, Commissioners, at the airport, so we'll, motion to table by Commissioner Garza, seconded by Commissioner Solis. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Well, stick around.
Yeah.
We go, okay.
Judge, we have to take action on 15 because it is on the docket. Even
Okay.
if it is duplicate, just to address.
Okay.
Yeah, just
All
to
right,
address.
well,
All right.
item number 15 is to approve an agreement for right-of-way professional services in regards to the acquisition of parcels near Zapata County Airport.
Motion to remove it to executive session?
Motion by Commissioner Solis to move it to executive session, seconded by Commissioner Garza. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We'll recall it to executive session. Item number 16 is to approve and accept the retirement of Genoveva Burwato from Zapata Juvenile Probation Department and highlight her 20 years of service to Zapata County, Texas. Retirement effective March the 31st, 2026. Mr. Rodriguez, Chief
Morning.
Juvenile Probation Officer,
Yes.
and your staff.
Chief, good morning.
Good morning.
So yes, we wanted to recognize Genoveva Blanco for 20 years.
Good morning, ma'am. Good
20
morning.
years of service at the juvenile. And we wanted to recognize that momentous occasion with a plaque that we got her. And we'll go ahead and read it.
Very nice.
So it says, with our greatest appreciation, obviously presented to Genoveva, also known as Bebe Burwato, the administrative assistant of the Juvenile Probation Department, in recognition of 20 years of dedicated service, hard work, and countless contributions to the Zapata County Juvenile Probation Department. happy retirement, well, I guess it's.
Early. Happy early.
But,
Friday.
20 years of service, yes.
Yeah.
congrats to you.
Motion to approve the retirement of Ms. Uruguato. And on behalf of the Zapata County Commissioners Court, we want to congratulate you on your retirement. And thank you for all your hard work and dedication for Zapata County.
Yes,
Thank
thank you very much.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And then
You want
just-
another picture?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, that was the next one. So, you're gonna be in the middle. We'll figure this out, maybe. Go in the middle. Let's see, let's figure this out. Okay, so maybe half of our staff on this side. You want us to move a little bit?
We good?
No, that's the way.
Así es. Is that my fault?
Yes, it's your, ready? I got 1, 2, 3. One more. And one more.
And then just for, I guess for clarification, at the end of this month, we should be having a juvenile board meeting to discuss the possibility
Of another hire.
for that.
Thank you, Fernando. Good job. Thank you. You good to go, Mary Jane? Yes? Item number 17, Commissioners, is to request a survey map of the Romeo Flores Park for the relocation of spectrum equipment that serve the community of Zapata. Lopez, yes.
Morning, Judge.
Lopez.
Morning.
Morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
I don't know if I can connect you. I want to provide y'all some visuals.
Sure.
We're looking to relocate our current standing hub to a virtual hub. We'll be racking out whatever we have on site. And this is gonna be a more condensed unit, which we're looking to set, let me see. Here we go. So this is where we're currently at. And, as you can see, this is where we're currently at. That building in the middle is where our communication equipment is right now. Where we're proposing to move is right along this street right here at 3rd Avenue. That white block there that you see, it symbolizes more or less the equipment that will be laying on the ground here. Here's just to provide an aerial view of this, where our old hub sits right in the middle of the park to where our new location would be. And these are just some pictures of these cabinets that we're using in other areas. So they're pretty uniform. They take a lot less space, a lot less electricity to run them on. And we're looking to see how we should proceed.
I think, so there is, I think your company has been leasing that space from the county for many, many years.
Yep.
So that current space will be demolished, or?
Honestly, I couldn't speak to that. I'm being tasked to
just find a new
that,
place for the,
to
okay.
that. What's gonna be done with that, the building and what's left, I couldn't answer.
Because the tower, of course, is gone.
Yeah, the tower's not
Yes,
there.
yeah. So it's just, Mr.
I
Fiola,
don't understand why you need a new site if you already have one. Why are you seeking to use another location as opposed to one? you
Because
already have?
that building there is gonna be, like it's decommissioned, all that electronics, since we're going to more advanced, technology, it's going to be a virtual hub, so there's no need for us to sustain a building as such.
Yeah, but you're seeking now to essentially lease a new section
Okay.
of Zapata County parkland. Why aren't you using the one you already have leased? Because now we would have to agree to grant you that specific area of parkland, to put it there as opposed to putting it in your existing
Do you
lease.
have to run wires? Is there wiring that you have to?
Yes, there'll be a fiber optic cabling that has to be rerouted and things like that, but, I mean, I don't know why the company's asking for us to relocate that out of there, I can answer that question.
Okay.
Again,
Well, I just think it's, because now we have to execute a new lease.
Okay.
It's not the same lease anymore. So now you're seeking for us to, well, one, and we don't know what it is you're gonna be leaving in the other location, because this whole area is a park area.
Yeah.
Okay, so, we had already leased, and what we have leased is fenced in, correct, Judge?
yes.
Okay, I guess that's what I'm asking, if you're removing the items that are in there, why can't we put the new, virtual, whatever it is you call it, in that section already? You know, and I'm not saying the county's against it, I'm just wondering why
Well,
it
unless
can't be
we're gonna
done.
have, you're gonna be paying for two different sites.
Right, and these are all things that have to be considered, because the original lease is only for where the situs of the tower is. That's what you guys, we've allowed you to be able to use that.
Will that box go fenced, or is it just gonna?
That's
be-
what we're proposing, to fence it up and make it as secure as possible, right?
It's
But
kinda gonna take the view of the park, the little view we do have is gonna take it away if we do that.
Yeah. So you may wanna check with your, management and all that.
Because
to
it passes
see-
right by
Right.
the
And,
walking trail.
Yeah,
Right, so it just, because this would require the execution of a new lease, not continuation of the existing lease.
Got it.
So,
That makes sense, yeah.
yeah, so
If we keep it there, the security. is
right,
gonna-
that part's already fenced, and I think we kind of designed our park to work around that particular existing,
Space.
lease that we have with you guys, so, I think to move it to another area might interfere with the long-term, vision or plan for that particular park for Zapata County. So, I think we already have an agreement, I think it's prudent to keep them in the same area, if at all possible. Now, if it's not feasible, well, then that's something you guys would have to report and see what the commissioners, whether they deem that to be appropriate or not. But that is something that has to be considered. So, in other words, your lease is specific to the area where the tower is. You can go back to where you're seeking to put it is not land that you guys have a right to. So you'd have to get permission from the county to approve that new site that you're taking. So FYI.
I would agree with that recommendation.
What's that?
I would agree with that option.
All right, cool.
Yeah, and that was the purpose for this, we really wanted to seek more guidance, see how we could do this.
Yeah, we've
and,
always worked,
help us out.
Sorry to throw a wet blanket on it, but.
No, this is perfect, I mean, I think that'd be more convenient for.
And maybe you don't have to reroute the fiber optic line, you know, I
That'd
don't
be all
know.
this work for us, but I just had to come in and ask.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
No action?
No action.
All right, Commissioners, on item number 17. Move on to item number 18, is to approve rental office space to Texas Workforce Solutions, Zapata County Community Center, free of charge. So that's been our agreement the last 10 years, I believe, with Workforce Solutions, trying to help our local residents not have to travel to Laredo to seek any employment opportunities, so
Motion to approve.
that office is being currently used by them, occupied, and motion approved by Commissioner.
You've gone over it,
Yes,
sir?
I reviewed it, the only thing that needs to be changed is the new dates, Commissioner.
date.
It is a 5-year, with an option for, I think, an additional 5.
Yes.
But that's the only thing that would need to be changed, thank you.
Okay.
All right, so I'll make a motion, to approve the rental office space to Texas Workforce Solutions at the Zapata County Community Center free of charge for the renewal of the five years, I believe it is.
5 year lease, yeah.
Yes, 5
And,
years.
for the correction of that date.
Very well. Motion by Commissioner Garza.
That's
seconded
it.
by
I didn't
Commissioner-
see anywhere whether they're requesting more space or
No.
just the same existence.
Same existing
Okay.
space.
Then that's covered in the lease.
Okay, and seconded by Commissioner Morales. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Item number 19 is to review status and take action on the existing projects. And this will be the sheriff's office, the fire station, the roping arena, and the raw water intake. Premier Engineering, you know. Yes,
Definitely
sir.
exciting,
Mr. Memo.
definitely exciting news, hopefully.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. On the projects that we have for the county, just wanted to give an update on the ongoing works. For the sheriff's office, we're looking to send the plans and specs for the agency for review and give us authorization so that we can go out for bids. Those plans have been, we've been working on those for already some time, and we're doing some adjustments to the plan that the sheriff and his staff need there for their offices.
Right.
So we're seeking authorization from the agency so that we can go out for bids, hopefully, this coming month.
Okay.
I think,
But they have already the plans, right?
we submitted a preliminary set, and so we made some adjustments to the comments that they previously gave
Okay,
us.
so those comments.
They gave us some comments on the roofing, if we were gonna replace the whole roof or not. Initially, we had it where we were only gonna replace a little section of it, and then we discussed with the court to do the whole roof.
Okay, yeah.
And so we've added some adjustments, and then they also asked about accessible spaces for the new offices, if we're gonna have more parking, or if we're using the parking that the courthouse already provides, and does that provide accessible parking, and it does.
Okay.
So we just need to identify that in the
Okay,
plans.
good. So yeah, there were minimal comments on it.
There was 10 minimal comments.
Okay.
So
good
we're
deal.
gonna address those and.
Hopefully we can get out for bids.
Yes.
People are in town
Yeah.
are starting to doubt whether these projects will ever come to fruition, I guess.
Yes.
Do you have an ETA on
We
when
heard
we
all
can
over social
go?
media last month.
I would try to stay away from social media.
Well, you know, in this position, it's kinda hard to stay away from social media.
Yeah.
you know.
Okay, well, good. So
We get a lot of
hopefully
calls.
next month we'll go out for bid.
Yes.
Got
and-
it. All right.
Yeah. so
Fire
we're
station,
sending
another
it for-
project, yeah.
Yes, we're sending it off so that with the, addressing the comments that they previously gave us.
Very well.
And then, so then on the fire station, they had also provided comments for that. That one, we've addressed the comments as well, so we're sending that, those revisions and for the agency, for them to review. And then on the roping arena, on that one, I'd like to have a meeting with the judge and the court if we can have a workshop, council.
For what, I'm sorry. I didn't-
Can we have I guess can I request a workshop with the court as a
For the-
whole, but it'd be more of
the
a
open
workshop,
meeting.
not a commissioner's court, so that we can go over the details of the projects, but make sure that we're all in agreement
Well, you
on.
could meet individually with all the commissioners
Then
and
you could,
inform
yeah.
each one in a
Okay.
separate meeting.
Good.
I can do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, inform the
I'd like to
commissioners.
do that.
Two at a time.
Because
Yeah.
I did provide the plans, and so they're available, but I'd like to maybe have a meeting
Yeah,
with
sit
each
down with
one
the
individually,
commissioners on.
so that get your input to see if, just make sure that everything that, we are putting in is being addressed.
Okay.
And then on the raw water intake, we did get the pump, like I mentioned at the last court. We did some test runs on it. We're needing to make some adjustments. We have, the belts that we're using for the pump, I think, we might need to change it, put in a different type of belt so that we can get a little bit more production out of it.
Okay.
We're getting about 900 gallons a minute. We're wanting for it to get between 2,000.
More than double that, yeah.
Yeah, we need between 2,000 to 2,500 gallons a minute. And it is rated for that, so, I did make some checks with, just to make sure that we do match our demand or what we're wanting. We don't use that amount, for the county, we use about 1,500 gallons, but we rated that pump so that if our community continues to grow, that it can, provide the between 2,000 to 2,500, and that's what we're asking from the contractor.
Are we saying belts, like
It has it's a drive belt.
Okay.
It has a motor and it has a pump. So then the motor and the pump are both attached to a fixed frame, and there is I guess a drive belt that provides.
And is that drive belt, is it slipping, or what's the issue that it's only pumping 900 gallons?
It's not one belt, it's 6 individual belts. So I'd like to see if we can switch that to maybe a one solid belt instead of 6 individuals. When we ran it, you could see that, we did a test run on it, you could see that maybe 2 of the belts were running consistently, but then maybe 2 or 3 others would loosen up a little bit, so you'd see vibration within the belt, and it creates, I guess the vibration.
Would that be
creates
just
a certain flow
would that
for
be
the
just tweaking the motor to where you align it properly and it'll
You would have to
pull
buy a
evenly?
Maybe, well, so you would probably just need to, they've already done some adjustments. So I requested from the pump manufacturer what we want as an output. So put it
And
back.
they requested that?
Well, no, I've sent them what we need. They need to provide us that. So they're having to tweak, whether it's the belt, I'm trying to help them troubleshoot their production, but, they're needing to provide us between 2,000 to 2,500 gallons a minute. And, I think it may be the belt needs some adjustment, or it needs to be replaced, the type of belt that they're using, but it may not, they may feel.
What's the cost of those belts, and or do we have any on spare or standby in case, you know, one of them?
We're requesting, when we have it already working the way we want it, we're gonna request a replacement one to be available to us, so we have a replacement one. So it is a belt, and eventually.
Yeah,
it
the
will-
wear and
it will
tear.
need to be replaced, so we're gonna wanna have one in place and one replaced, one for spare, one backup. And then, so when that one gets installed, we will order the replacement for it. I don't wanna order it yet until it's running the way we need it. And then I also requested like a belt guard, so that, if our workers are working near it, it's, it has a guard over it, and, it currently doesn't have a protective guard on it. So, but just, we did get it to run, and we got it to push, some water, but we're still, tweaking on the production on it. We're wanting it to get us that volume.
That's all about that pulley. I think if you change that pulley, it'll change the RPM on the motor. It'll make it.
Well, the motor can only run at 1,800, and we ran it to 1,800, so it is pushing that, but yeah, there's.
Yeah, it has to be a racial issue.
Yeah. So we're working on that with the contractor, and they have, they did run some tests. We haven't accepted it as a county, so it's basically, we're at 95% complete on that one.
But did we already pay for the pump?
Not 100%.
Okay.
No, we still have,
Cause that was an expensive, part piece of.
well, we haven't accepted it yet.
Okay.
Yeah, it is expensive. I mean, I'll tell you right now, on the pump, the trailer mounted pump with equipment fittings and system in accordance with the drawings and specs, the system will deliver complete, tested, and functional with a 12 by 20 IPS SPR 11 piping and connections for 12 and 8-inch valve, which all the connections have been done, and the 12 by 18 connection and a 1 cap. So those components, all that has been installed right now, and the pump has been delivered, but it is $150,000 pump with the other piping and connections. We're at $142,500 at this time. We have $7,500 remaining on our account for that. We have $1,250 remaining for some hose and valve and fittings. We have $8,500 remaining for our electrical system. We put in electrical manual switch, so that when we do have a power outage, we could run our generator, and then we can go turn on the pump with our generator. So we hooked it up to our generator, and then we have,
I mean, I just wish the pump was working, because we're having to rent the diesel pump currently.
we're not having to rent one, Judge. We're renting one, but we have a diesel pump currently
Well,
that
that's not
works.
working properly either.
It was a hose that wasn't working. It was, the hose
Well,
that
that's
we-
why y'all couldn't prime it.
That's why they couldn't prime it, yes, because, the hose is collapsed, so you're trying to pump water through a hose that on the interior
Yeah.
is already shredded, so it's not gonna prime it, it's not gonna push any
So now
water.
we've got 3 pumps down there, one works?
2 of them work.
A rental?
Our diesel pump works,
And a rental.
our rental works, and then our permanent pump, I think what was happening to that one is the control panel overheated.
Was overheating,
Yeah,
yeah.
it overheated, and so then when it overheated, it shut it off.
Yeah.
So then they had.
So it wasn't an electrical issue after all, it was the cooling fan or whatever.
It's an electrical issue, because the cooling fan that cools the electrical did, I guess overheated, and it's not.
Yeah, but what I'm coming to is like it didn't burn out. It's just the cooling fan has to be replaced.
That was my understanding, is that the cooling fan that keeps the
Electrical.
pump running, it's not working properly.
What's the status?
We are requesting, we are gonna be requesting funds.
What's the
from
status
the
on
water
that?
board. I think we should replace all of those electrical panels. What's that?
What's the status on that one?
On that one, they have, I think they have, our electrician working on.
Oh, okay.
Trying to get a replacement for it. And so I'm not sure if, I mean, right now they have it working because they put in some external fans to keep it cool.
Cool, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so at the time we were having,
But-
when that panel went out, of course, the water plant manager reached out to me, he said, "So here are our options." I said, "Our electrical pump, the one we got with the grant, is not working, okay? So the refurbished diesel pump that we spent a whole lot of money on wasn't working." I said, "Well, go rent one." So, I mean, so unfortunately,
Yeah.
we had to rent another pump.
Yes. Yeah, unfortunately, yes, we rented one. Your diesel pump does work though. I mean,
Well, it wasn't working.
Once they figured out that.
The issue.
Yeah, but
So,
when
yeah.
people lose water, they want immediate.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and
Yeah, we can't afford to see, well, let's see and try to fix it. If it's not working.
I just, yeah, I mean, I'd like to, when something like that happens, to be able to be involved in the troubleshooting.
Yeah.
So that we can try to look at all options, and that's, once I got the call, then that's what we did, and within an hour, we got it fixed, or it got fixed.
Yeah.
But sometimes we get emergencies and.
Well, let's just get that $150,000 pump working the way it should be. Or
That's-
else they can take it back and we'll get another diesel pump, because it seems like if we're gonna have reoccurring problems with Phil.
No, I think
Yeah.
we used to have, before we had our permanent structure, we used to have, a pump, 2 pumps down by the river, and they were, similar in size and similar in, I guess in production style.
Okay.
And they would produce 2,000 gallons a minute, and we had a wire or a cable going down, we just had it laid on the ground, now we have it, up on power poles. But, those were the ones providing water for the community, you know.
It should work.
Back in 2000. So, yes, no, it should work,
Okay, that's good.
So, I do have a invoice number 11 from the contractor on some of the work that has been submitted and turned in to this point. It is for $25,412.50, and we still have a $57,850 balance remaining within the contract. And that, I guess, will be held until the project is,
Would that be for Axstar?
that would be for Axstar and then to move on all the services through Axstar, they're buying.
Motion to approve invoice number 11, made out to Exxon and Micron in the amount of $25,412.50.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Solis, seconded by Commissioner Garza, to approve the invoice number 11, payment to Muflon Construction, but with that payment to Axstar.
Correct.
Alright, motion to second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez. Thank you, Judge. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah.
The raw water?
The remain.
Number 20, oh yeah, to review and item number 20 is to review and consider plat on 105 Maru Lane?
Maru Lane.
Maru Lane.
Yeah, I got two calls. I'm Friday, Thursday evening. That's two. Judge and Commissioners, this is on Maru Lane, which is over by Alamo Street on the north part of town. This is to plat it into block 1, lots 1, 2, and 3. We do have already existing homes on these properties. We just want to make it, I guess, formally have them platted. And then the size of the lots is going to be, the first lot would be half an acre, second lot would be 1 acre, and then the third lot is 2.5 acres. And then they do have their utilities. For the 2.5 acre lot, they would they are able to put in a septic system to.
And this is all basically one family?
Yes,
Yes,
okay.
But I didn't notice any dedications there that the county would be responsible for?
No, Council, the road is already dedicated, it's that previously, it was already owned by the county.
So there'd be no obligations to the county beyond just accepting the plat as presented?
Yes, the developer would be responsible for any, I guess, anything that.
They're already got their homes built.
Yes.
Motion to approve the plat as presented.
Motion to approve replat, consider plat as presented on 105 Maru Lane by Commissioner Solis, seconded by Commissioner Morales. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, Gonzalez.
Thank you
We've
very
got
much.
some consent items, 2 streetlights, 1204 Miraflores Avenue and 27th and Alamo. Motion to approve by Commissioner Solis, seconded by Commissioner Morales. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, line item transfers, county clerk, record processing to county management software, $638.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve as presented by Commissioner Solis, seconded by Commissioner Garza. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving on to resolutions and proclamations. Item number 23 is to consider and approve a resolution to apply to the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department for a target range facility planning grant application. Commissioners, as we were informed a few meetings ago, there is an opportunity to request funds from Texas Parks and Wildlife. The site which is being considered for the application is our current shooting range. So a shooting range building would be added to our open range that we currently have.
So that would be an indoor range?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna, cause I remember I had mentioned this.
It would be, yeah, an indoor open to the public.
Yeah, cause I remember I had mentioned this about 3 years ago or something like that, about applying for this grant. How would we incorporate it with like the county? Are we gonna have to hire somebody to be there, hours of operation and stuff like that?
I imagine, if it's a county-owned facility, yes. Yes.
It's on the shooting range, right?
Yes.
Correct.
Yes, Commissioners, Judge, on this one for the shooting range, we're looking at, having a facility, indoor facility. So you would have, you would have a facility much like you would have like your golf course.
Correct.
You have a golf course manager, you would have your open arena or your swimming pool. And you have somebody that runs it and then people can rent it and they can go there and sight in their guns, or they can go in and have competitions for, I guess, target shooting or practices like that.
Yes, correct.
And we were looking at the site, or where we already have an existing open air facility, but this would be an enclosed one.
So it would be like next to it?
It would be in that site, but yeah, it would be next to it.
Yeah, cause I was thinking, I said maybe we can incorporate it like in the golf course area, where it'll be, more in
Let's just
shooting side is up for discussion, yes.
Yeah, and I see it's an 90-10.
Yeah.
It's a 90-10.
Yeah. So on.
The Texas Parks and Wildlife is offering a grant to create a public shooting range?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, it's been up
Well,
for
it's
grabs
just-
for a
Well,
while.
this is Texas.
We have a lot of hunters, you want them to be trained properly, and, you know, how to, you know, have proper gun safety, I guess.
I think this is the third or fourth year it goes up. I guess they're really pushing for indoor, shooting ranges.
We do have other, land
Commissioner,
available there
that-
at the golf course.
that
maybe
sounds
next to-
interesting,
On Oak Street.
We have a lot of
Golf course,
avid,
Right.
people that like to shoot and to sighting guns.
Right.
I'm pretty sure it'll be a good hit, but
If the court wants to keep those separate, that's something that, we just need to make a decision on where we want it located, I guess.
Yeah, cause
The firing range is a private range for just the county, right?
Right.
So
It might be ideal to keep them separate, Judge.
Yeah.
We have law enforcement on one side, and then
We meet for
that-
special things.
Right, and then have the other one. I like that idea of the, using the golf course lands, because we do have.
we have plenty of property,
Right.
around that area. I don't know what the
think we
specs
just
are
need
as
to
far
look
as like
at,
sizing.
As long as it's not within the flood zone, but, yeah.
It almost have to be next to that Merrick facility.
Yeah, next to the marriage.
What that
It's
space we currently
It's not really by the library, because over by the library, you do have a gas producing well.
Correct.
And so there's.
And then our trail, the parking
And then
lot.
we do have a trail for.
And it would be a means to
It
develop
just
that
depends
land.
on. It doesn't say like the actual cost or the specs of the buildings. Do they have like already prefab some?
No, right now, it's a very
Is it like the
preliminary
2 or 3
application.
lane, indoor? Because I know I've seen them, but I know they have caliber, ranges also. Like, okay, you can only shoot from a 22 to like a 270 or 7mm bullet, whatever it is.
Those types of details, I think, Commissioner, would be included if we do get the invitation for a full application.
Yeah.
I think right now it's just, if the county would be seeking funding for, a facility, and then we would then set those parameters and specs on the building once we find out how much funding you would be able to be eligible for. And if that is something that the court wishes to go after.
I think this is a great idea, especially for law enforcement, local, state, federal, and for the community as well. Now, will we have the customers to operate on a daily basis? That is my only concern that I do have on this.
Well, we can actually even make it just like a private building where it's open to the public, but you would have to rent it out, an hour or 30-minute sessions or whatever it is.
You could set hours, much like you do with like your swimming pool and your other facilities, where
Yeah,
it's
but my swimming
available
pools make
from
what,
5 to 8.
$2,000 a year? See, that's the scary part of it,
We invest a lot of money into those pools.
It's a 10% that we're gonna have to spend monies that we really haven't this moment to spend, 10% on. Sounds like a great idea.
I guess it's more, do we really need
Well,
a range?
we had agreed to move forward with it last couple of meetings,
So
when it was presented. So now it's more or less up to the.
Yeah, it's up to the court, but
It's
yeah.
more of a want.
Oh, we
We're
submitted
approving it
this-
right now, aren't we?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but we get approved to move forward with the application.
Oh,
Yeah, because the application has been submitted.
Yes.
On behalf of the county.
Well, the thing is, right now, how many grants do we have pending? Active?
Active, you have the sheriff's office, the fire station, and the roping arena, and you're finishing the.
So we got a CO to cover our portion, right? So the
Yeah,
thing is, that
so
when we
those
have the
cover-
10% to cover this, I don't know if it's, $1 million,
How much is this gonna cost?
That's what he doesn't know yet.
I don't know.
That's what I asked. Like, do we have
Just to
a?
figure out the 10%.
Let's see how much money's available. We can,
Yeah, because
at that point, we can say, we can't afford
If
it.
you
Yeah,
get-
yeah, that's
that's
true. We
true.
can explore, just
If
explore,
you-
that sounds good.
That's kind of what you're doing.
But I think talking to Mr. Gonzalez, you said that, we might not even be able to cover,
Right.
all of the county matches for the current.
Let's see how much is available, but we did bring on a consultant to say, apply for it, so.
But like the judge says, once we
No,
find out how much
yeah,
it is, then we know.
We're not having to pay the consultant anything right now, right?
No.
No.
Judge,
Even if we
maybe
pull out?
just, on, it's still project related, but we did, we did submit, funding also for the county for sewer improvements. And we did, get already ranked, and we are on the priority list. And so we are getting offered, some funding I don't know yet how much will be, matched, but we do have monies on the CO to match some of it. We may be able to, if we get funded, our match would then be reduced, so then our CO monies would then become available for other things.
Yeah.
And then the one for the Water Development Board, the one that's 100% grant, that one, you did allocate about 1.3 million for water improvements. If you get funded,
We can use those monies for something
you
else.
can use those
Well,
monies.
you know, what I'm kinda hoping on that, if we have leftover monies, be able to buy, you know, some kind of paving equipment, whether it's rollers or something. You know, for road and bridge to kind of, help our streets, right? You know, I know when they're in desperate need of some attention, so, you know, that's what I'm kinda hoping for.
Yeah.
So right now, I think to move forward, we need to select a site, right?
Yes, because right now we submitted a site of your existing,
And if we wanna change
shooting
that, we're not
range.
comfortable with that, I think we need to determine, that we can use a golf course property, if y'all wanna use that.
I mean, if we're not, you know, if we're not,
You wanna keep them
spending
separate,
any-
that'd be fine, yeah.
I'm assuming the building has to be at least either 75 to 100 yards, you know, if you're shooting, you know, or sighting in any gun. So we have to find a spot where it goes at least 100 yards and it won't interfere with any flooding zone, like you said, or any gas or.
I know that you've been to the gun arena in Laredo. Is it about 100 yards?
I think they go 100 yards. And I think it's 8 lanes.
They built a 100-yard tunnel, but originally most indoor ranges are
Or
50 yards.
Yeah, it's 50.
Yards? Like the Laredo arena, I don't think it's 100 yards.
They built
No,
a
it's
100-yard
50.
tunnel.
They did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Underground.
Yeah,
They did the 100-yard
Do we have to
underground.
choose a site?
And for,
I think because if we're not comfortable with the site that's already been
It's
chosen, then we
50.
can say, you know what,
It's mostly for
let's
pistol.
try a different site.
it's mostly for pistol.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's why I was asking, like,
Yeah.
depending on the caliber, you know, you can only shoot so much.
Because you have two
Y'all wanna
different
keep
kinds.
it
You have
separate,
the
but
pistol
just
range
the
one's
ones
for
that did
50
well.
yards, and then you have the for 100 up to.
They shoot rifles also in the 50.
But-
Yeah, and I think it would be prudent to have them separate, Judge.
Yeah, I think, I mean, that's fine.
The reason being is the
Law enforcement aspect.
right, the law enforcement aspect of it, Judge, and the types
I'm
of
sure you're gonna
training
wanna
that
go
they
through the
do.
indoor.
Well, they
Oh,
might
yeah.
end up being there, but.
So we can rent it out to them.
It's not about the qualifying, it's about having a place to meet where it's private, out of the way, that's where we, gather our intel, stuff like that, and we don't.
So I guess then, we can move forward with choosing property that we have available at the golf course, that's above the flood zone.
Yeah, I'll talk to Mr. Escher.
Okay.
And I'll let him know that, possibly they would be looking at, a site maybe over by,
Oak Street?
Yeah, the county owns property over by the golf course, over by Oak Street.
Okay,
That'd be fine. Sure.
Okay, so the motion to approve the resolution, to apply to the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department, targeted range facility, and our location would be around the golf course area.
By
The golf
Golf course
property, along Oak Street.
Okay.
motion by Commissioner Solis,
I'll second that.
seconded by Commissioner Gatsa, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Moving down to 24, to approve resolution in support of HSP LETPA FY fiscal year 26 grant number 594001. Morning, Andrew.
Good morning, all.
I have no idea what that stands for, maybe
Yes,
it's in
it's,
that.
SHSP, State Homeland Security Program.
Okay.
That does, law enforcement.
Okay,
So.
that acronym's okay. And this grant is a,
It's basically to get some, SWAT gear. We did have a meeting with the, COG. So we're gonna see what equipment, out of all the equipment I asked for, we're gonna get. Probably not gonna be much, but I'll take anything.
that's good. You've been doing a good job, yes.
I'll second.
Motion to approve the resolution as presented by Commissioner Solis, seconded by Commissioner Garza. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Did you have
Item number
something?
25, a resolution regarding a financing agreement for the purpose of acquiring a security system for the sheriff.
The financing is actually for the Zapata County Jail for the female facility.
Okay.
It's for the upgrade installation of cameras for the facility, around the facility and inside the cells of the.
This doesn't include the regional jail?
No, this is just for the female, because
Okay.
what we're dealing with the cameras at the, so
Okay,
this is
so
just
we-
for the.
We need to upgrade our system at the county jail?
Yes.
Okay.
So basically, they did the financing and the sheriff had spoke to me, this is basically, we're gonna pay for it with the commissary funds.
Okay.
So we wanted to run it by you guys, as far as getting an approval.
So if you're doing this for the commissary, why do you need a finance company?
Because it's 103,000 and we have 150,000 in the commissary account.
Is this the government capital?
Yes, the
Okay.
government capital.
Looks like it's 103,585.76 cents.
Yes, sir.
And you're looking at, you know what option, what term you guys are going with? The
We're
5 year?
gonna try and go with a 5-year.
The middle?
Yeah, the middle, the 5-year plan.
5.95 interest rate percent?
Yes.
Motion to approve as presented.
Motion to approve presented by Commissioner Solis.
I'll second this.
Seconded by Commissioner Garza. Any discussion?
Yes,
On the-
Judge, there might be a slight issue here, just let me clarify this. Now, so you're seeking to get it financed then?
Yes.
Okay, and the total contract is worth?
103,000.
103.
103,585.
Okay, and you have those funds currently to cover it even though it's being financed?
Yes, we have the 157,000.
Okay, because you have an obligation of 100,000, the commissary can never go below that obligation. Okay,
Yes.
because you guys can't control how much is coming in and out of the.
Commissary.
Well, you can't control how much is coming out, but how much is coming in.
Yes.
Okay, so, you're gonna have, so now that's only gonna leave you a $50,000 window, that you guys can use for other emergency type of expenses. So just giving you the heads up on that.
Okay.
Does that make sense? what I'm
Yes, sir.
trying to say?
Yes, sir.
Does that
Yeah,
make
we
sense?
have to always maintain that amount.
Right,
Yeah,
that
whatever
amount, or the
you're
amount
obligated,
owed.
Whatever
The
you're
amount
obligated.
owed.
So in year 2, it might only be 80,000, that you're
That you can
required to
free
keep
up, yeah.
in the commissary.
It'll be annual payments of 24,864 with 45 cents if they go with the 5-year plan.
Yes.
Okay. All right, got a motion to second. All those in favor say aye. Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Captain.
Thank you, Cap.
Item number 26 is resolution opposing the placement of border buoys by the Texas Department of Homeland Security in the Rio Grande on ecological concerns. And this also, so we do have a resolution to read out that has been prepared.
Judge, I think there was a request made, I believe the commissioners were included in the email, but I had not seen the resolution. Judge, does the resolution make reference to Falcon Lake as well, Judge?
Yes, I can read it out if that would, you know.
Because I think that was one of the concerns
Yes,
of our citizens.
sure, and the item was pretty vague, but the resolution is a lot more specific, I think, so I can read it out. A resolution of the Commissioners Court of Zapata County, Texas, declaring its commitment to preserving the Rio Grande as a critical public asset, directing the county judge to investigate the impact of a proposal for the placement of border buoys and metal fencing by the Department of Homeland Security and other governmental, federal, and state agencies in the Rio Grande, raising concerns for the health, safety, and welfare of the residents of Zapata County and public assets, and prohibiting the conveying, leasing, or otherwise encumbering the county's assets to an external governmental entity or private entity for work the purpose of which materially affects Rio Grande front property in Zapata County. Whereas the Rio Grande serves as the main source of drinking water, irrigation, recreation, wildlife habitat, and economic activity, including wildlife, cultural, and historic tourism, not only for Zapata County residents, but for visitors alike. And whereas the County of Zapata owns and maintains significant public assets along the banks of the Rio Grande, including Zapata County Waterworks, open spaces for recreation, public access to the river, boat ramps for sport, fishing, and recreational activities, parking space to accommodate automobiles and watercraft, and a bird sanctuary and other rights of way that require consistent protection, coordination, and long-range planning. And whereas the Department of Homeland Security and other federal and state governmental agencies support and have proposed the placement of a buoy and metal fencing system to prevent aliens in violation of federal immigration and custom laws from entering the United States of America as places along the Rio Grande other than at designated ports of entry. And whereas the Department of Homeland Security has advised the County of Zapata by letter of their intent to take and use certain public and private lands for that purpose. And whereas a recent study conducted by fluvial geomorphologist Dr. Mark Tompkins of the proposal by the Office of Homeland Security of a wall and buoy system along the Rio Grande concludes that if the proposal were implemented as designed, it would create inevitable, unique, and unprecedented threats to human life, property, and critical bridge infrastructure. Whereas if the proposed wall and buoy system were built according to design, it could operate as an obstruction and alter the flow of the river away from the river banks and at several water intake stations belonging to Zapata County Waterworks along the Rio Grande at the unincorporated communities of San Ignacio, La Mirena, and Zapata that provide potable water to the residents of those communities. And whereas the county adopted through the Falcon Lake Planning Commission a comprehensive long-range planning document called the 2008 Vision Plan for Zapata County that identified the Rio Grande riverfront as a continuous public corridor intended to support recreation, ecological, cultural, and historical preservation, specifically the National Historic District, the Trevino Uribe Fort, and the Native American camping and burial sites. And whereas the County of Zapata has entered into an agreement with a private grantor or grantors to accept land in San Ignacio, Texas, along the Rio Grande corridor to create and maintain in perpetuity a bird preserve. And whereas the proposed metal fencing and buoy system plan appears to conflict with the 2008 Vision Plan for Zapata County, as well as its duty to maintain the bird and wildlife sanctuary and provide safe potable water for its residents, businesses, and visitors. And whereas the Commissioners Court finds that it is in the best interest of protecting the public's health, safety, and welfare of its Zapata County residents, as well as its critical for life water infrastructure to determine the impact of the proposed buoy and metal fence system by the securing additional information to determine the specific impact the proposed system will have on the Zapata County's Rio Grande banks, including critical infrastructure, the county's 2008 Vision Plan, the county's public assets as described above, and the legal commitments to donors to maintain a bird sanctuary. Now therefore it be resolved that by the Commissioners Court of Zapata County that Section 1, the intent, the Zapata County Court reaffirms its commitment to preserving the Rio Grande as a principal public asset that provides water for population growth, farming, ranching, and future economic development through ecological and historically based tourism, and promotes human survival. And in the event of a flood, which is inevitable, flows in such a manner that it does not increase the probability of loss of life, injury, or damage to property by man-made mechanical structures placed in the river. Section 2, interest. The Zapata County Commissioners Court also has an interest to abide by all federal and state laws. Section 3, findings. Zapata County Commissioners Court finds the study performed by Dr. Mark Hopkins, PhD, of the Flow West raises serious concerns about the negative impacts of the proposed metal fence and buoy system on critical infrastructure owned by Zapata County, on health, safety, and well-being of Zapata County residents, and the future efforts to promote economic development. Section 4, investigation. The county judge is authorized through legal counsel to investigate where the metal fence and buoy barriers will be actually deployed in Zapata County and its riverbanks. The county judge is further authorized to identify the county's assets and critical infrastructure that will be affected by the installation of the proposed metal fence and buoy system. The county judge is authorized to employ experts to determine the impact of the proposed metal fencing and buoy barriers on Zapata County assets and on the future health, safety, and welfare of Zapata County residents and visitors, provided, however, that he shall not spend more than, and that's up to the court, on this study within 45 days of the adoption of this resolution. The county judge is authorized to present a plan to oppose or not to oppose, or oppose in part or not oppose in part, the Homeland Security metal fence and buoy barriers proposal. Section 5, interim protection. Until the Commissioners Court has fully considered the plan and recommendations of the county judge shall not have authority, and the county shall not convey, lease, or otherwise encumber the county's riverbank property, grant any right of entry, easement, license to any external government or private entity for work affecting riverbank. And the effective date This resolution shall take immediate upon its passage. So Commissioner, I think what, the only thing that, you all agreed was to see how much the county can afford to commit, for this study, and that is what the court seems, deems necessary. I think, in your presentation, you said it would, require up to 25,000?
So, good afternoon again, Commissioners. Martin Castro for the record. We expect this study, if the court approves, would range about $15,000.
$15,000?
Yes, for the.
So
I
if
guess
that's,
we can approve
it's certainly within the resolution, the court could take action to expend the 15.
If you're seeking to adopt it, yes, Judge, you mean to designate 15,000 as?
To hire,
Yeah, because it's up to, the court would have to, set the limit.
Right.
Yeah, not to exceed.
More than, not to exceed
General
more
fund?
than,
Are we going from the general fund?
yes.
I'll make a motion to approve, Judge, the resolution as
Sorry,
presented.
Commissioners, I was going to add one more thing, I apologize. To your point, Judge, earlier, a study may, the range, be anywhere between 15,000 up to $25,000.
Oh,
For
we make a motion
analysis.
to exceed.
Let's exceed 25,000.
Yes.
25,000.
Make a motion to approve the resolution as presented, not to, in the amount of not to exceed 25,000.
Second motion.
Okay, so I'll write that in, more than 25K
No more than 25K.
on any study. Okay. Any other comments, Elsa? Would that be sufficient for now, I guess?
Yes, thank you very much for your consideration of this. I
I know,
appreciate your
it's,
support so
it's
much.
a very,
The residents and the people in this county.
it's a very
It's really
difficult time for all of us, and, you know how we feel, 4 years ago or 5 years ago, how we felt, that hasn't changed. So, yes, we don't, certainly agree with what seems to be the plan for our county, so we'll do whatever it takes.
Yeah, I'm very grateful.
All
really.
right, thank you. Motion by Commissioner Solis, seconded by Commissioner Moya. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So the resolution is adopted.
Judge, I make a motion to enter executive session.
Okay. Yes. Motion by Commissioner Solis to enter the executive session. Seconded by Commissioner Morales. The item to be heard is item
13 and 15, Judge.
13 and 15 to approve an agreement for right-of-way professional services in regard to the acquisition of parcels in the Zapata County Port. This item is requested by Mr. Government Code, section 551.0.
I'm sorry, Mr. Bernal. Once the resolution is signed, how much time do you need before they can, it becomes official onto the record? That way they can.
I can get them a copy right away.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. What time, Mary Jane? Because they needed to send.